If this is your first time here, don't forget to please press the subscribe button and press the little bell to receive notifications when we upload. You can now become a member of the FM Scout YouTube channel. Simply press the join button and you'll be given 5 different tiers to choose from. We also have a Discord channel, so if you do like talking about Football Manager, just go to www.discord.gg/FM Scout. The link is in the description.
Hello there everyone, and welcome to another video here on FM Scout by myself, Omega Luke. And today I'm going to give you some tips and some, really they're sort of like exploits on the game of how I play the game anyway, and just sort of tips that you may not have even known about before. Some of it to do with transfers, some of it to do with your own players, some of it really just a visual effect which can help you massively while playing the game. So first and foremost, this is going to be a tip which I use all the time. So on this page here, this is my Eintracht Frankfurt save which I use on my YouTube channel, and you're going to see straight away Man United make Palacios offer of 2 million. And if I click on this player, Palacios, he's worth 15, but as you can see, he's a very good centre-back. Exactly the same underneath. Chelsea make £4.2 million bid for Benedito. Benedito is one of my best players. He's worth 52 million. Why are they making that low of a bid? And it's quite simple. When I first got these players and they started playing well and they started attracting attention, they all started kicking up a fuss, wanting to leave to bigger clubs. Obviously, Eintracht Frankfurt, not bad club, and in 2026 we've won a lot of trophies. They still wanted to leave to the bigger sides, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Uniteds, the Chelseas. How did I keep them? Well, simple. You go onto your transfer market, you set an asking price of 4.2 million, you then reject all transfer offers. And I'm telling you now, you will get an abundance of these offers come through. However, the player will not kick up a fuss, because if he wants to leave to these clubs, you simply have to go into where you have a conversation with them and tell them the finances aren't right. You're worth a lot more than that. They always agree. They always tend to say, well, they may even say, well, what is your valuation of me? What would you say is enough? You know, go for like the 70 millions, what you would be happy with, and negotiate with them. They're normally fine with that. But if your asking price is 4.2 million, these clubs are only coming in with bids of 4.2 million. On only one occasion has a club ever come in with anything decent, and that was to break their minimum fee release clause on a player that I had a couple of seasons ago, and because of that, he ended up leaving. But the minimum fee release clause was so high, I was happy to let him go for that price. So maybe look at using this in the future. I'll show you Palacios as well. On his his transfer status, 2 million. I do this on all of my best players, on all the players that I do not want to lose, because let me tell you, it does work. So make sure you try and use this one in the future for your own good players. Okay, the next tip that I'm going to give you here, this is sort of for the one for the transfer market. So this is a 2-for-1. One of these here, this sometimes doesn't work, but occasionally, especially on this save, it's worked for me quite well at the start of the season, maybe not in January. So I'm on the transfer market here. I've set edit search for transfer listed players. So they're not loan listed. So I could even tell you, go on there, they're not listed for loan. We'll select that just to make it even more. So they're only listed for a transfer. However, Kyle Walker-Peters, not a bad right back. If I wanted to maybe back up my right back, I can make an offer. I can still make a loan offer. They will still negotiate for me to have this player on loan. And if you ask me, that's not a very good deal. 185k. Maybe I can just get him down so I don't actually pay any money. Will they accept that? Unacceptable. Never mind. But I've noticed at the start of seasons, you can go for the transfer listed player, and you can tend to sign them on loan for 50% of their wages for the whole season. Now, if you ask me, some of the players that go on the transfer market would never move to my club if you're a lower tiered club, if you will, with not as much reputation as the club that you're trying to buy from. But with these loan deals, they're quite happy to come to your club. So for a season, you might rescue your season by getting some of the world-class players just on loan for a season rather than a full-time deal. And even after that, maybe you can negotiate with them and bring them to the club if you look after them correctly. But another one that I'm going to show you now is something I showed you on a video a couple of weeks ago, and that is the minimum fee release clause. So just in case you've never seen that video, and I'm going to show you a little bit extra to that. If you go on to add condition, you then go to contract, clauses, release. This is where you'll find the minimum fee release clause. So to begin with, this is just the usual one. So say if I set it to 60 million, all the players who have a minimum fee release clause under 60 million pop up here. So as you can see, you probably won't recognize a few of these players because I'm quite far ahead into the future. A lot of these are regens. But the one that I use the most, when you start getting a bit of success in your save, you then start to realize that a lot of teams, well, a lot of players won't come to your club unless the team is happy to go for a lot of money. However, there is a major continental competition release clause. So if you have qualified for the Champions League, if you select this, then you open up a lot more players for you. So Borussia Dortmund, in my save, did not make the Champions League in the last year. So if I wanted to, I could bring back Luka Jovic. How much can I bring him back for? £41 million. And if you ask me, he's already worth 37. That's not a bad deal. Obviously, I won't because I'm quite far ahead. I have better players. There's a reason why I got rid of Luka Jovic in the first place. More players just like that. Arne Meyer is another player who I nearly signed with this deal. And it isn't for the fact that I actually promoted a couple of my youth players that I would have done it. Because 37 million for Arne Meyer is quite good. 26 years old, he's still got a good 5 years in him as a very good centre midfielder. And because they haven't qualified for the Champions League, I could pick them up with this sort of clause. And if you have a look, there are so many players who come under this. But I noticed at the start of the season, it's not so much. At the start of your saves, it won't be as many players doing this. However, there does tend to be a lot more in the future. And even in the Premier League, there is a lot of players in the Premier League who have this deal just simply a few years into their saves. So it's definitely worth looking at. You can go all the way up to your transfer budget if you wish. There's a few other players in there that come underneath this youngster here, 18 years old. He looks phenomenal. He's got a minimum fee release in the Champions League of 86 million, which does has an expiry date of another 3 years. But if I wanted to break that, I could. And chances are he would want to come to me because I'm in the Champions League. That's why he's got it in his contract. So definitely look at using release clauses in major competitions if you do qualify for the Champions League. If you haven't, just try using minimum fee release clauses twice a year. Every transfer window that happens, just give it a look. A lot of players sign new contracts without you realising, and these minimum fee release clauses get put into their contract. So definitely give it a look. Now, another thing that I always tend to do in my saves is I always play around with these colours of the attributes. And as you can see on mine, I've actually made 15 a green for me, because if you ask me, 15 is sort of an elite number. So I think it should be quite high, and a lot of people don't actually know how to do this. I've also changed 11 down from like a yellow to a blue, because if you ask me, 11 is very average. To do this, you go on to your preferences, and on the preferences here you have a drop down menu onto interface. On the interface it has skin colors at the top, and here we go, attributes. This is what you need to look at. From here you can change the threshold of your attributes. So if I wanted to, I could drop all these down one. I could add them up a little bit higher, or yada yada. It's really up to you how you play around with them, but that is what I've done. An excellent attribute. I've left it as a bright green because I prefer that. Yellow as a fairly good attribute. Blue is an average. Low is red, and you can toy around with what these colors are and what the threshold of these colors are. So originally this was 16 as shown, and this I believe was 11. I've changed that. I've gone higher into the save now. I want to know a little bit more, and just by changing that to 15 and 12, I think it's really helped me pick out better players, because Abel Ruiz would not look as good if it wasn't for the fact that I've changed 15 to green. And if you ask me, 15 is very high attribute for composure, for jumping reach, for determination, for decisions. But if they were all yellow, let's have a look quickly at the difference it really does make. And I know it's as simple as that. It really is. But I think it makes quite a big difference. And this little tip here, that's basically how you would change it, just in case you were wondering. I genuinely think this tip is... Look, I think it makes a big difference. I really do. I don't think he looks as good enough player now. If I was scrolling through all the players, maybe I'd overlook him. I don't know. But personally, Abel Ruiz has been phenomenal for me. And 15 is a very high attribute number. So think about that in the future, and change your colours to how you suit. Maybe your skin makes it so you can't see one of the numbers very well. That's how you change it. So make sure you give that a look as well. Okay, so the next tip that I'm going to show you here is a bit of an exploit again. And as you can see on this page, Manchester United have an offer accepted for Joshua Wagnerman, one of the wonder kids of FM19, a very good right and left back in the future, 17 years old, currently at Hamburg in the Bundesliga 2. And he is a German player, and if you have a look at the German national team, there is no real players. It's all of these fake players you cannot sign or buy. They have incredible attributes, but you can't buy them. And that is because of the license details with Football Manager and the German national side. And how you can use this to your advantage is quite simple. If you have a look at the transfer offer that I gave Hamburg, 12.25k, and I could probably have negotiated that a little lower, but it is still quite high. They wanted about 15 to 20, and I saved myself 3 million because I offered them an extra 300 million if Joshua Wagnerman was to make just one international appearance in the future. And you can use that with all German real-life players on the game, because they will never make an appearance for the German national side. Even if they are already in the German national team, they will not do that in the future. So you can definitely use this exploit to your advantage in the future. And finally, the fifth tip that I'm going to show you today is using transfer clauses. And I'm on the page again of Plymouth Argyle, my home side, my local team. And the reason is because they have an extremely good transfer clause at the start of the game. So as you can see, 25th of June 2018 on FM19 is one of the earliest starts that you can have in the English League. If I go to transfers and transfer clauses, these are all of the clauses that they have in the future. As you can see here, Sam Gallagher, who moved to Southampton, there is a potential buyout clause of 38.9k. Jack Stevens, however, there is a potential buyout clause if I choose to sell it for 2.38 million. And if I sell that clause, I will get that amount to my transfer budget, as you can see there. Before I select yes, let's have a look at the transfer budget that you get with Plymouth Argyle. 85k. That is it. Not a lot you can do with 85k. You would struggle to produce a very good side in League One. However, with this transfer clause, if I sell that, 2.38k goes to my transfer budget. There you go. Already it's up to 1.3, and obviously due to your transfer revenue on this, Argyle probably have 50%. I've still got 1.394 million to spend, which is a lot more. And you can do that in the future with all of your clubs. You can also put in sell-on clauses into your players, your young players who go to bigger clubs, for instance, in the future. Add that 50% sell-on fee, because when you do that, and I'll quickly show you, for instance, Ramirez, I mean, I'm not actually going to sell him, but if I was going to, you got these options down here: potential profit of next sale and potential percentage of next sale. Sorry guys, I've got a code. From this, you could go up to 50%, and a lot of the time the big clubs will just go, yeah, whatever. And to be honest, sometimes I accept very small upfront fees for youngsters instead of going for high, because I'll bang this on, and either they'll sell them in a couple of years time when their value is really high and you'll actually get 50% of that, or you'll go to the transfers, you'll go to clauses, his value would have skyrocketed because he's broke into the first team, and you can sell these clauses just like I did for Jack Stevens. So definitely look at this page, transfers, then clauses at the top. This is where you'll find it, and that is how you can sell on your transfer clauses. So definitely use that one in the future as well. So guys, I hope you use these tips in the future. I hope you find them useful, these little tips and exploits of FM19 as we're closing out and heading our way through to FM20 now. But if it is more FM content, then you can find myself at Omega Luke Gaming on YouTube. Just type it in just like this and you can find me. I have a good Eintracht Frankfurt save going on there, and I might have a very good Scandinavian challenge coming up in the future before the new game comes out. You can also follow me on Twitter at Omega_Luke, and make sure you keep checking back to FM Scout. Keep subscribing, liking all the videos, because we have plenty more to come in the future. Jamie is currently doing a very interesting save in the Portuguese lower tiers, which is definitely something I have recommended on here in a previous video. So make sure you go over to the live streams and give them a watch as well. Give Jamie some love, and I'll see you next week, guys, for another episode here on FM Scout.